Hey everybody, it's Nate Wenzel here with the Nate Wenzel team, and we are here at Hermann J. Wiemer Winery in the Finger Lakes. Can't wait to show you this. We got a really special treat, so let's get on inside.
Hello, I'm Eddie Clark. I'm with the Nate Wenzel team. Today we're going to just talk about the best pairings of wine for Thanksgiving. Which wines do you want? Reds, whites. This is my daughter, Sommelier Tara Clark, and we are here in the wine library at Hermann J. Wiemer Winery. Susan Hughes is going to be doing some interviewing. Emily Merrill is one of our top buyer agents, and there's our captain of our team, is Nate Wenzel.
Hi,
Cheers.
So I wish this was my basement. This is so beautiful back here. And we've talked about, you have a whole map about how this is done.
Yes.
But I want to talk a little bit about what we pair for Thanksgiving. And I know
Absolutely.
at my house, we start with the hors d'oeuvres. We start with some shrimp cocktails, some cheese and crackers. So what would we kick it off with?
I love it. I think those things are what we have at our home as well. I think a lot of people can relate to that. And I think that's an opportunity to celebrate. And when we're celebrating, what better way to celebrate than with bubbles? So I think that opening a bottle of sparkling, whether it be Prosecco or Champagne, Cava, here at Hermann J. Wiemer, we make a Cuvée Brut. It is mostly Chardonnay and Pinot Noir blend. We do everything by hand, so it's done in the traditional method. And it really cleanses the palate. It gets you excited about the next course. It's refreshing and it's celebratory.
Great. So then you hit the Thanksgiving table with all the squash and the turkey and the green beans and the stuffing and the gravy. So what do you recommend putting with those?
I always say that is the most chaotic plate of food you can have all year. And I love pairing chaos with chaos. So Gewürztraminer. A lot of people will drink Gewürztraminer at the holidays. Obviously we're Riesling House, that's what we're known for. That is also a great idea. But Gewürztraminer can be a lot of different things. It can be spicy, it could have a lot of stone fruit. It can sometimes even have a lot of weight and a lot of structure to it. And you need something that's not going to get lost, but actually rise and meet all of those different profiles. So because you have that sort of refreshing acidity and the body and the aromatics, it doesn't get lost, and if anything, it plays along. So Gewürztraminer is usually my go-to, and our 2020 vintage was a fantastic vintage. I know not a lot of great things happened in 2020, but this was one of the great things. And so I definitely recommend celebrating with that for Thanksgiving.
Now, if you're a red wine lover, what would you put with it?
Red wine you want to be careful with. You don't want to do anything that's too tannic and too full-bodied, because it will actually cause some of the ingredients that are on that plate to taste bitter. You'll end up with kind of more just this dry feeling in your mouth rather than an actual refreshing note. You're going to get some of that fruit lost too. Those wines are meant for steaks. They're not meant for poultry and for things that are very vegetal. So in that case, you want to go towards things that do, and that's Cabernet Franc and a lot of Eastern European grapes like Blaufränkisch. Blaufränkisch is an Austrian grape. It tends to be lighter, pepperier, but still have structure and nuance to it. So again, it doesn't get lost.
Great. So if you're not a turkey person, some people say, oh, I hate turkey. I'm going to go do ham for Thanksgiving.
Right.
What would you pair with that?
You want to also, again, be careful. You can up the notch a little bit on structure, and you can up the notch a little bit on terms of fruit profile. So then you're looking at your wines that are blended. Things that are blended with Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon are okay, as long as there's elements there. You can go for a fuller-bodied Pinot. That's okay there too as well. I always like a good Valpolicella. We don't really make that in the Finger Lakes. So I think that at that point, you're okay to sort of look towards more blended wines that do have those grapes that you recognize.
So as we then go toward dessert,
Yes,
I'm told
my favorite.
that a lot of the desserts, you need a wine or a liqueur that is sweeter than that dessert that you're having, or it will make the wine or the liqueur taste bitter.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend for that?
That's very true. When you're pairing sweet and sweet, we call that a congruent pairing, right? So they're harmonizing, they're following each other. So in that case, you can actually bring out that ice wine that you bought over the summer that you weren't sure when you were going to drink it. Now's the time. But I also like to say you always begin and finish with bubbles. So this is another chance to do a contrasting pairing, where you're actually doing something that cuts through all that sweet, refreshes the palate, lifts you up. And again, that's bubbles.
Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Cheers. Happy holidays.